I don't know what else to do again to impress all the girls and them. They have no interest in me, I starting to go crazy. Then I went out to take a drive, and that is when I realized how they was responding to me. All because I have four wheels. They only want me, she only love me. She don't want no shopping spree, only car. She even skipped dinner with me, cancel the trip to Miami. Now I have to pay down on a new Audi. I went motor one to check Tariq for a car, to see if I could get a Jeep or a car. He said me and Rena have to speak for me to get a discount on a SUV. All she want is, all she want is, all she need is in the morning. All she crying, all she want is, all she need is. This girl got me working hard, but I know that she love me bad. If you hear how she does brag when I pull up in she yard, I tell her that I have a great idea. Let's catch a flight and get out of here. She say we could go anywhere, once it will have a car there. They only want me, she only love me. She don't want Versace, only car. She don't want Louis V, only car. She don't want jewelry, only car. She only want a man with a SUV. She don't want no shopping spree, only car. She even skipped dinner with me, cancel the trip to Miami. Now I have to pay down on a new Audi. All she want is, all she want is, all she need is in the morning. All she crying, all she want is, all she need is.
Yo, it's your girl Steph London, and I'm gonna be live for the first time in St. Martin at Festival Village on the 21st of April. So make sure you get the tickets because it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be shut down. You already know what we do. I need all my bad gal, all my bad man, them come out. Buddies only come out.
It's time SXM presents a grand fundraising raffle taking place on Sunday, May 28th. The grand fundraising raffle. Get your tickets now for only $10. The first prize is a 55-inch smart TV. Second prize, a hotel weekend stay. Third prize, a Samsung phone. And the fourth prize, a 100 Gilda shopping voucher courtesy of Carnival. It's going down on Sunday, May 28th. The fundraising raffle. Tickets available for only $10. Proceeds will go towards a back-to-school program.
Purchase your tickets at Creative Juices or from any of the members. Call 556-5181 or 523-8272.
It's time SXM.
Welcome to the Late Night Show. Hope everything is okay. Hope everything is all right. I'm your host, Anthony. I think I should go a little more dancey because it's Carnival season, you know, kind of bounce. Welcome to the show. Of course, we have a good one for you. Let us begin. I know you want to know what came out of Friday's meeting with the union and the whole Council of Ministers. Yes, the Council of Ministers met with the unions involved with the police, the justice workers, of course, because Carnival opening begins tonight and everybody wants to know whether police will be there or not. Well, I can tell you that they will be there because some kind of sort of agreement was fruitful. It was good. They conversed, and the whole Council of Ministers gave some guarantees, and the union was able to understand, and they planned on making a joint press statement, finally, because during the week, it was all over the place. Minister of Justice was sending out press releases left, right, and center, and the union was sending out press releases back to back, basically contradicting what the minister was saying. In one press release, the minister was saying, we had a good meeting. We are reaching very close to making sure that this situation comes to an end. And then the press release saying from the union, no, that's not true. We still vex. We want our money now. Otherwise, no Carnival. They said it in those nice words. So discussion continues. Of course, Carnival season begins. So that would mean that I think they're going to do this on a day-by-day basis based on the agreements that we're giving to these police officers, these justice workers. Let's not forget we have to deal with a bunch of departments at the same time. So it's going to take some time. But what I wanted to focus on tonight was, the opposition members and members of parliament that, have so much to say concerning, the justice workers. And I remember they had a question hour. Where the Minister of Justice was questioned by the different members of parliament. And at the same time, these are the same members of parliament that didn't vote for the 2023 budget. So then how are you telling the Minister of Justice to pay them, but you didn't vote for the budget to pay them? You feel me? You understand what I'm saying, right? Yes? English? So let's go back. I always like to go back because I like to always use these words against the words of the same members of parliament against them, because MP Sarah Westcott Williams came out with a long press release on Tuesday, saying, pay the justice workers now. But then back at the budget meeting, she was like,
MP Sarah Westcott Williams.
Against.
Did you hear her say against? Same thing with MP Emmanuel Savage Chris. You went on Tuesday and went on a bold tirade about Minister of Justice and these civil servants need to be paid and so on and so on. And then in that same budget meeting, he was like,
MP Christophe Emmanuel.
Against.
You hear him? You gotta love politics in St. Martin, but I just don't want you to forget, because St. Martin's supposed to be a real place. But from now, no, it's not. No, it's not. So let me go back to the meeting to give you some of the core issues when it comes to the union, and also when it comes to, what they're asking for with this situation that is happening. But Carnival is scheduled to continue as always. So stop worrying about it. You can go to your opening jump up. It's starting at the Milton Peters College, and then it continues straight to the village where they have the normal customary speeches. And I know for sure all the ministers that's going to be present in the village going to be like, thank you to all the police officers. All you's the best. We love you. Thank you for being here. Now make sure, check your pay slip month end, because we're going to make sure you get paid. Anyway, take a look.
And everyone, justice workers in the Tribune and my honorable colleagues, good afternoon. Minister, let me get right into it. Minister, I've spoken to about 15 individuals in the justice field, and based on their assessment, on the letters that they have received, out of the 15, only 2 said that they agree with what they have received. So my question to you is, how does that make you feel, seeing that majority of them is not in agreement with the letters that they have received? And in addition to that, I've sat here and heard you make mention of a offer letter, and then you said a placement letter. Which one is it really? Is it a offer letter, placement letter, or a proposal letter? Which one is it really that is being offered to the workers that they can hold on to? The offer letter, the proposal, or a placement letter? Which one is it really? In addition to that, let me get into the other questions. Minister, can the minister outline the arrangement made with the consultant, Mr. Dahl? Under what conditions is he working? And for how long is that contract or contracted for? And how does this cost fit into the country? Is 1 minute already? So it is.
MP Emmanuel, was that the last question you wanted? Or?
It's okay.
Okay. Thank you, MP Emmanuel. Minister, I would give you the floor to answer with 1 minute for each question.
Sure.
Minister, you have the floor.
Sure, thank you. So, MP Emmanuel, one of the things that I've identified, we have seen as well, is that many officers or personnel, I should say, are confusing this placement process. The placement process is not a promotion process. And a lot of persons are not happy with the letter they've received, or because it doesn't give them the understanding that they are being promoted into a higher position. The placement process is in connection with now the Ministry of Justice has a function book. Where do you place in the function book in terms of the job title, job description, salary scale, etc. That is where I believe the confusion comes from, or the disappointment. Let me use that word as opposed to confusion. And so we have officers that are, but it's just a conversation. It is a conversation that can be held with your operations head, and in this case, if you're speaking of police officers, they can have a conversation with the chief of police to understand why the decision was made on that level to offer them the position that they've received. Offer placement. So the words are interchangeable. They all mean the same in the context of what we're busy with. We're busy with placing people in alignment with the function book. And then under which condition? Mr. Dahl is actually a consultant that so it was just a request that I sent to my colleague minister in Curacao to be able to have Mr. Dahl assist us. Only when Mr. Dahl comes, we will cover his per diem to be in St. Martin, but we're not paying him a salary or a tulacha or anything of the kind. So there's not really a hefty cost on St. Martin for the assistance Mr. Dahl is giving us. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Richardson. I now see MP Akeem Arundel. MP Akeem Arundel, you have the podium. You have the floor.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Minister. Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, everybody in the police force, so yeah, my fellow colleagues. I will get straight to it. As you can see, you have a lot of miscommunication. We in here having misdirection, everybody having misleads about different things. I would want to hopefully answer this. What about the department heads? Are they informing the workers anything? Talking to them individually? When I was a police officer, I remember we have a jump up coming up. They're spending 15 minutes coming talking about did I book. What's 15 minutes to come talk to the people and explain what's going on. So I don't know if you're informing the department heads to talk to the individuals. And also, Minister, are you willing for yourself to also to talk to every individual for yourself? Stop having this much communication. Everybody don't, like this one say, he say. If you would take a one-on-one on your time, starting from next week or wherever, so you sit down every afternoon, let's talk to 700 plus, every one of them, so everybody can have an understanding. Instead of going through the union, this one, everybody have their own understanding for themselves. That'll be it.
Thank you, MP Akeem Arundel. Minister of Justice, you have the floor.
Definitely the department heads must be directly involved in this because that's where it begins. Earlier in my statements, I indicated this does not begin with the minister because the minister is not a part of the operations. It begins with the department heads. Now, do the department heads engage with the staff walking around asking them, hey, how do you feel about your letter? I don't know. Is it a case that the staff themselves are approaching the department heads, or are they only basing it on whatever the unions are saying to them? I don't know what's happening there. But to roll right into your next question, my door has always been open. It is just the willingness of the officers to come to me one-on-one. And this is something that is personalized. You have to be willing to come so that we can speak one-on-one, or it's a case that if you are coming as an individual, you're giving the opportunity for my person along with the head of HR, in this case our acting SG, who is also, according to the Landsbeslide, a member of the placement committee, to meet with you, hear your grievances. I have never been a closed door. It's always a welcome, but it is the choice as to whether you're doing this as an individual or you're doing this in a unionized form. So my door is open. I am willing to meet with, I can meet with you after this meeting, if you'd like, on an individual basis.
Thank you, Minister, for your response. And I now see MP Rolando Bryson. MP Bryson, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, thank you and good afternoon to one and all. Mr. Chairman, I tend to want to be a very solution-oriented person while appreciating the answers and the questions posed. I have a question that I would like the Minister to consider and give a response of this being possible. As we know, we were able in 2020 to make payments in terms of, let's call that installment one for lack of a better term. Since then, from what I understand, you have now made calculations that the government believes, although many of them may feel that is not accurate, but the government is doing something that I legally consider acknowledging a debt. That's now on paper. So taking that context in the accountability ordinance, there's an acknowledgement of debt to the justice workers. Is it now possible with that calculation to be able to pay the officers based on that debt with the strict condition placed on the government, however, that even if they receive those funds immediately, that they have full rights to still object and say, no, I think I was actually owed more or a different amount, that right is not taken away from them, where they can receive at least the funds that you believe they are owed, and if there's a difference, that they will then be able to get a chance to appeal it still. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Bryson. Minister of Justice, you have the floor.
Thank you, MP Bryson. So as I've mentioned before, throughout this whole process, I have been querying and asking if there's opportunities for the legal basis. One thing that MP Bryson did say a few minutes ago is the fact that we can now identify specifically what amount is owed to each person. And indeed, in discussion with my legal, I will try to see, or we will try to see, what opportunity, if any, is there to be able to move into another payment while we are still busy with calculations, etc. Because ultimately what the governor needs to be able to sign the LBHUM for the Rexpositie as well as the salary scales is to be able to know that total sum. So MP, it's definitely something that I would like to be able to explore, and I can always provide an update thereafter. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Minister.
Okay, so there you had it. All right, let's begin the show. Welcome to the Late Night Show. We have a good one for you. Let's begin.
Fundación Raíces Dominicana presenta Noche Latina 2023 este 27 de abril. Una noche repleta de entretenimientos con la revolución urbana del momento. Flow 28. Para deleitarnos, la salsa con clase de David Cava. La sensación del momento, Ángel Guiol. El bachatero número 1 de la República Dominicana, el chaval de la bachata. El artista más completo de la República Dominicana. Bueno en balada, bueno en merengue, bueno en salsa. Alex Bueno. Con el alma desnuda. Entrada $40 por adelantado y $60 en la puerta. Reserva tu mesa VIP al 1721-588-2744. Patrocinado por Gold Label, Sonesto Bajo y Sky High. Será un evento para que nadie te lo cuente.
At SXM, we're taking travel and tourism to new heights. Here we boast spacious check-in areas, 10 passport control points, comfortable departure lounges, and finally, there's an airport in the Caribbean that takes your travel plans as seriously as you do. Princess Juliana International Airport.